Hello, just doing a video about CM0304. This is the load up screen when you go into the game. It's more a video for people that are used to 0102 or the CM3 series or earlier Championship managers. What's the big difference with this version? First off, the skin is pretty similar to the old Championship managers, the older versions. But when you start getting into the game, you start to notice there's a lot more depth to it. First off, you've got little options like move matches for TV. This is 0304, so it's got some add-ons from CM4. Use real players. It's got some of the similar stuff which you get with CM0102. Enable background changes. What is quite nice with this, you've got DDT and EDT files. You can just like edit files with Notepad, like retain players or retain nations, retain clubs, things like that. Or without using the editor, you can use command lines. Like if you want to swap clubs, like put Celtic in the Premier League, you can just WordPad that and save that in the EDT or DDT files. So you do that. If you want to start the game, you start the game. The one major thing which is really good is this version's got 2D highlights, so you can watch the match in them. You can also save your matches as well. So as you can see, you can view all your matches here. What you do when you're in game, after the match finishes, you just go to the highlights on the 2D pitch and just put save, and it saves it to your hard drive. So you can always go back into the game and rewatch the match. So then you can like upload it to YouTube or whatever, similar to how the later football managers started to work. So let's just quickly start a game. So you've got many more leagues on this compared to 0102. CM4's got the same leagues as well. I'll go into the differences anyway, but just have a look here. What are the extra leagues? Austria. I think China is China on 0102? Might be. Colombia, that's an extra league. Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Israel. I haven't done Israel yet. I might give that a go sometime. Japan, same with I think Japan's on 0102. Mexico, Serbia, Montenegro. CM4 still was Yugoslavia, but 0304 was the first time it changed to Serbia and Montenegro. Also as well, a lot of the Eastern European countries that were on 0102, you couldn't get work permits for certain countries like Belarus, Poland, if you was playing in like England or the Irish League or the Scottish League. This version, most of the Eastern European nations are all within the EU on it, so that's less of a problem. I think even Ukraine and even Russia maybe. I know countries like Hungary, Bulgaria, Belarus, they are all EU nationals, so you can basically load your squad up with loads of cheap Eastern European players if you want to, when you're playing them teams that have, when you're playing leagues which have strict work permit issues. Okay, let's just start a game. Just load one up. We just do Czech Republic. Actually, let me take the EDT files off because it will take forever otherwise. I'll just use my profile for now because we could just get into the thing. I'll just take over Everton. Okay. First thing you'll notice straight away is it's pretty similar to when you first go into 0102, but then when you start going down a little bit more, there was a lot more added to it. Once you start having a look around. If I go to my manager stats, I think, well, how do I check my own profile? If we go to club, go to Everton staff, you can actually click on yourself on this version, and your attributes change as you go through the years, and obviously your reputation affects what you do and how you handle with the media. That will affect your attributes. Apart from that, I just think that's pretty cool. That was the first I think CM4 was the first Championship manager that actually gave you your own manager attributes and stats. Okay, So the squad screen, pretty much the same, all the information, just the tabs are a bit different. Have a look at training though. Training though on this, for training differs on 0304 to CM4, but not a lot. But it gets a bit more like kind of management if you want to go into training. There's so many schedules you can set, and you've got the options like if you go to manager options here, you've got training options there, so you can set, if you can't be asked with training, you can set your assistant manager to do the training, and then you can just kind of do the basic settings like rest after match day, or if you want them training on match day, for like if you want them to become all tanks, you can do it that way. And then obviously you can choose when you suspend training and when they return, little things like that. But back to the training, yeah, you've got all the different. I've never ever bothered with the training on this. The most important thing with CM0304 and CM4 is just get that you don't have a limit on coaches. You can just go out and sign millions and millions of coaches and then just assign them to different schedules. If you don't, or if you've got your coaches stretch, or you don't have very good coaches or very good facilities, your player attributes could decline quite drastically, which I've seen before on other saves. So the first thing you do whenever you load up a new game is just sign loads and loads of coaches and physios. That's a must. That's a bit different to 0102. Sometimes on 0102 you can have bad facilities and crap coaches and your players will still develop sometimes, but on this version they don't. They can collapse entirely. Where else are we looking at? Okay, what's another good option is the go on holiday option. You can actually set when you want to return. So if you want to just test a tactic for a season, you can actually just request when you return from manager holiday, which is pretty cool. And then you've got other options like reject all offers or don't buy, use current match tax. It's pretty similar to 0102. Oh, I didn't mean to continue. As you can tell, the processing is a bit slower. I've only got one league loaded, but it's just the way the game was designed back then. It's set up for like it wasn't set up for multi-threading, so even if you've got like the quickest PC in the world, it will still run at the same speed. Do you want yes? Which is the only annoying thing. But at the same time, even running more leagues doesn't really affect the speed of it that much. It's quite a slow game to run generally. Where else do we want to look at? Now we go to tactics. This is the biggest. This is what I really like on 0304. You've got a lot more options and a lot more micromanagement here. But at the same time, you can still use basic team settings if you can't be asked with that, or you just want to download like Diablo tactic or something and just use like a really tried and tested, known, successful tactic which people have uploaded before. But the fun with this is, the confusing thing with these tactics is you can actually set the player mentalities, like how attacking or how defensive you want individual players within a system to be. It affects the match engine greatly because you can have a really attacking fullback, or you can have a more defensive striker who helps out more in midfield or drops back, or the mentality, just how they play the game. Like a striker on defensive mentality is going to try and hold on to the ball. So probably someone who's not that technically gifted, but it's got like a lot of white rate, and play like a defensive forward or a target man. You might have him on a lower mentality, to say that your striker, who you might have, your poacher, who you might have on like gun ho or attacking. We tried it out. It actually looks quite cool in the match engine, because if you drop a forward on it, you don't even need to use the arrow. You can just set the mentality off. I've seen like target men go right back into like midfield, and also as well closing. This is a big thing as well in the match engine, closing down. You've got options here, own half only, which is going to automatically set you as a more counter setup team, compared to you want to close them down all over the pitch, which is a bit more kind of 100-mile-an-hour type style. You can actually see it in the games, because I didn't realise, because it was only when I started playing the game again, I started thinking, why are my players automatically dropping back, or why are my strikers so isolated up front? It's because if you settle your whole midfield onto close down only in your own half, they tend to drop back more. They won't press higher up the pitch, so you're going to invite pressure, but at the same time, if you can win the ball, you can counter. So it all depends on how quick your team is, or what attributes you've got to your team to decide how you want to kind of use that. And that's before you go into, if you want to, you can even put the counter attack on as well, and you've got the other option of men behind ball. You can set up very, very crazy defensive blocks on this compared to 0102. Like, you can do that, men behind ball, close down in own half, and you can park a lot of players back, and it's bloody hard to break down. Because the AI, I noticed the AI use a few 5-4-1 tactics and 4-5-1 tactics, and sometimes you just can't break them down. and then it forces you to kind of change how you play as well. I just thought it was really good on the tactical screen how to use it. Unfortunately, no, with 0304 and CM4, you can't set a playmaker or a target man. I think that only came into existence with FM, the first full Football Manager. But even though on 0102 there was an option to set a playmaker, it doesn't give you the option on 0304, which is a bit annoying really, because apart from that though, all the other options are there. The extra advantage, you can actually individually set up set pieces. So you could set up your striker to go back and defend, or you could have him attack the near post, challenge goalkeeper, attack ball from edge of area. Like, there's so many different options to suit your attributes or how you want to set up your team. Like, if you want to defend a corner and be more counter attacking, or if you just want to just put everyone behind the ball, it's entirely down to you how you want to set up the team. Player search and transfers. The player search option is pretty similar to 0102. You've got the same options here. It's just a bit annoying because sometimes a lot of the players don't come up when you're first on a loan and you do like realistic only. Sometimes it just, if you're a smaller club, it won't show that many players, and it's just like you've got to scout for months before you get a pool of players which you can actually visibly see without individually searching for them on the quick search, which is always the option you've got here, where you can search people, clubs and nations. The attributes are pretty much the same. They're just in different places on this version. So they've just put it into technical, mental and physical in different blocks. You've got a little bit more data on here as well. Once the matches start, you can actually see there's a tab comes up called form. So when you click on the player, a tab will come up for form, and it shows you like recent matches. Their breaks down like all their games statistically, which is pretty cool if you want to go a bit more in depth. Generally though, the game can become very easy if you play it with the same mentality as 0102, where you just want to sign as many freaks as possible. It is a bit easier than 0102 in that sense, because there's just so many good freakish players on the game. If you want to search around or look on forums for which players get good and what players you can pick up for like 40,000 at the start of the game for like peanuts, and they just become world class. There's a lot of different signings like that. I actually really want to do a game where I don't sign anyone and I'm forced to stick with the squad on this, because it will force me to use the tactical options on the game, which to be honest, when I played this as a kid, you don't look at things like that. All I remember doing is knowing the good players on the game. I used to go out and sign them at the start of every save, so I didn't have to worry about tactics because my team was that good. I actually want to do a tactical game on it because there's so many different tactical options you've got on this version, and it's not too in-depth either, which is good. It's got that nice balance. It's a little bit more detailed than 0102, but not overly. And also as well, you've got the 2D pitch, so you can see players that are giving the ball away, or if they're doing the wrong style of passing, or if your team's too spread out, or if your team's too compact. You can kind of then play around with the mentalities of the players, or reposition them with arrows or just move them around on the pitch, which I think is really cool. Obviously the staff's the same, the information's the same. There is some nice media touches as well, like I don't think it lets you do it yet because there's no games, but once the season gets in, you've got like transfer talks, so you can talk to your player, you can criticise your player, you can actually go to the players and you can release media stories, but it's not that in depth like Football Manager. It's just you can send a few a season if you want to boost their confidence, or if you just want to play about with the media. It's pretty cool. What else? Apart from that, it's I don't think there's really that much else to go into. I should have really wrote it all down so it was a bit more structured, but that's about it really. Thanks for watching. Bye.